first, we'll hear from Senator Hickenlooper. Really appreciate him taking the time to share his message with us, sharing his passion for transportation electrification as a really critical and urgent aspect of addressing climate change, and also where we can find benefits for minority and low-income children in particular. The senator is going to speak to us also about his work in fixing unfair electricity rates through the Recharge Act, and how that will help make electric school buses more affordable, as well as some new efforts to develop a vehicle-to-grid grant program that adds resiliency to the list of benefits for electric school buses. So with that, let's hear from Senator Hickenlooper.
Thank you all for having me. I wish I could be there in person, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with you virtually. Climate change is the defining challenge of our time, and the effects are being felt in Colorado, across our nation, and around the world. Our planet's health, our economic well-being, and our national security are all at risk. We must address climate change with an urgency to match that risk. We've been working hard on solutions to the climate crisis, and I'm excited to share with you some of what we've been up to, especially as it relates to transportation electrification. Updating our transportation system is a truly urgent need. Transportation is our largest emitting sector, contributing some 29% of U.S. greenhouse gas emissions. Decarbonizing transit, and especially ground transit, means we have to embrace electrification. I worked on the bipartisan infrastructure bill, our country's largest ever climate investment, at least to date, the largest. That bill not only includes $7.5 billion for a national EV charging network, it also provides $5 billion of investment specifically for clean school buses, at least half and potentially all of which will be electric. Beyond the climate benefit, these buses will help the millions of children, particularly minority and lower income, who are exposed to air pollution when they ride diesel buses to school, which can lead to higher rates of asthma and respiratory issues. These school bus electrification investments are a tremendous step towards protecting the health of both our planet and our children. And there are other steps we can take to tap the full potential of these investments. For example, also within the bipartisan infrastructure bill is the Recharge Act, which is our team's first bill to become law. The Recharge Act addresses unfair electricity rates that can ultimately get passed on to electric vehicle drivers by the utilities. These electricity rates were designed for big customers like factories that are already up and running. Our bill makes all 50 state utility commissions consider rates that actually work for charging stations and EV drivers, and especially for larger vehicles like buses. This is going to help states make options like electric school buses more affordable. It'll boost our transition to clean transportation while promoting affordable and accessible electric vehicle charging. Additionally, we're working on a vehicle-to-grid, or V2G, a vehicle-to-grid grant program to build on school bus electrification efforts resulting from the infrastructure investment. V2G would not only mean more electric school buses, fewer greenhouse gas emissions, and cleaner air. It would also mean more efficient grid operations, lower utility bills, enhanced grid resiliency. It provides a second, entirely separate value proposition for our new fleet of electric vehicles. Because as we've seen with solar, with wind and batteries, and indeed EVs, when we get the economics for green technologies right, they are unstoppable. Again, thank you to the Electrification Coalition and the World Resources Institute for having me today. It's always a pleasure to work with such a dedicated and innovative group of people.